saw this material a while ago on sale and I've been dying to use it for something. I've used this pattern for a few different waistcoats, and I decided to use View B and remove the collar for this one. So I redrafted the pattern, pinned it to the material, and pinned the lining to the lining material. I started by sewing up the darts at the front and the back and the lining. I've finally gotten to the habit of pressing the seams and the darts and everything as I go, which gives a much more professional appearance at the end. Next I pinned the shoulder seams and incorporated the front lining, which I will actually sew in place later. For me, it just makes it easier to turn the waistcoat inside out at the end. Pin and sew the outer layers as well, iron the whole lot and the seams. At this point I pinned up and sewed the lower facing to the front, and this is what it looks like when it's ironed. Time to join the layers. This is the front on the bottom and the lining on the top. Only pin the bottom up the front and around the neck, because you're going to need the sides open to turn it inside out later. Note, I still haven't sewn the lining yet. That will happen after I've turned inside out. Okay, so at this point I've actually sewn all those seams, turned it inside out, and then I've sewn up the side seam. Sorry, I forgot to film that bit. And I've hand sewn all the lining along here, the front, across the bottom. I've sewed the lining at the side seams. I prefer to hand sew this particular point. It's easy for me. I don't know whether that's because I did historical reenactment for a long time. I have no idea whether you can machine sew those bits, but I hand sew them anyway. And after ironing, this is what it looks like so far. No buttons yet. Oops, and I forgot to mention about adding in the belt. I do that when I sew the side seams, so I pin the belt end into the side seam before I sew it. I used a gold D-ring simply because there were no buckles, the 25mm size available. Buttons next. I would have loved to have had some gold metal buttons, but I could not afford that. Buttons can actually be the most expensive part of an outfit. It's not surprising that historically there were sumptuary laws limiting what could be spent depending on your social class and income. I marked out the positions for the buttonholes and sewed them on the machine, checked they lined up, and then crossed my fingers before I cut them. Sewed all the buttons in place, and here it is. I love the bee motif and the colours, and I decided I would make the waistcoat for when I'm doing a Fae Tale and Aunt Enid book events. But I'm really quite happy with the fit of this pattern, so that's probably why I keep using it again and again and just readapting it to different styles of waistcoats. Look out for more of my costume diaries, and thanks for joining me.